Nick Fuentes is on the PBD podcast talking about Jews. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tal the Traveling Clout, your favorite Jewish, white colonizing, brown colonizing Zionizer. Get the shirt, read the shirt, and weep and buy it on thetravelingclout.com right now if you want to be a Zionizer just like me. Let's get into this clip with Nick Fuentes.
What do you think about between the two communities, Muslim and Jews? Which one concerns you more?
Jews, for sure.
Tell me why.
More powerful. They're more powerful.
So
I love the premise of this, by the way, as if Nick Fuentes and Patrick Bet-David, just because they're both Christian, see eye to eye. Like, ladies and gentlemen, real quick, before we get into the video, don't forget there are 46,000 denominations of Christianity. It is not a unified group in any way, shape, or form. I promise you there's more of a danger between inter-Christian groups not getting along, not seeing eye to eye, than there ever will be between Jews. Muslims is a whole different thing, but Jews. We're not dangerous. We're not a threat to you.
more powerful in a way. You're talking the fact that they have money, finance, Hollywood. Is that what you're
yeah, they have more position in American society.
And how do you think they got that?
I think they got it because they are extremely connected. They're a transnational entity. You know, this is how the Rothschilds got started. Their superpower is that they live everywhere, and they have their Jewish identity supersedes their local identity. So a Jewish person in America or in Germany or in France or in the UK, they can all talk to each other and work together.
Do you think that's a bad thing?
Not in and of itself. It is detrimental for America, though.
Is it detrimental, though? Because, I'm a Syrian, right? Mm-hmm. And I wish Assyrians were more like this. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you why I relate to them. We don't have a country. Assyrians used to have a country. We used to be the first warriors. We were written about in the Bible. You read it all over the place. You know, the history we had, the things we invented. And then we became a little cocky. And God came in and was like, listen, man, relax, Assyrians. You ain't going to come and be the king of the jungle. It's me. And you hear the stories about that they built the tower to go all the way to the top because we are Assyrians and, and then we failed. It's like, no, look at you now. No one knows who Assyrians are. You don't even have a country, right? We know the land in Iraq or wherever you are. You don't have it anymore. I think when a community becomes too cocky, the man upstairs is going to handle that himself, right? But in a sense, when you see they went from a small community to have this much influence, isn't that almost impossible for them to pull off? Like, isn't that? So it either produces one of two things. I'm not intimidated. I'm not a guy that is envious or jealous or, oh my God, that guy's richer than me. That guy's this guy's. I'm not. I want to see what they did and what worked for them. For example, to me, when I think about Jews, I think about Mormons, I think about Scientologists. I used to have an office where half the office was all Scientology, and I learned all these phrases, assist, or, I went to their church and Dianetics and L. Ron Hubbard, and what he would say when you get a headache, you do this, and all these weird extras. I'm like, oh, interesting. How much money did we give? $200,000. Why'd you give that? But let me tell you, those guys that were in, they had each other's back. It was a fraternity that you wish family members were like this, right? I think Scientologists have it maybe more than Jews. So I think Jews will bite each other a little bit, not as much.
All the time.
And then Mormons have each other's back. Of course.
We're our own worst enemy.
People come out and they'll talk about God makers or, what Gordon B. Hinckley. And I've read all of that stuff from over the years. But what's wrong with them winning at the highest level?
Well, I agree with you that it is remarkable, and it is actually ominous how much they've achieved. Here's the problem, though. Open society. The premise of this country is it's self-government, of, by, for the people. There's a egalitarian idea that we are all citizens, and that's why I say it's detrimental, is that if Jewish people are Jewish first, not of, by, and for America, but of, by, and for the Jewish nation, this is problematic when they're in positions of power, because are they looking out for all of us, or are they looking out for themselves first? And when you look at the Israel policy, that's where people start to say, I think you're looking out for yourselves first. I think you're biased. And unfortunately, you're using the public purse and American soldiers to fight your own battles. And that's the problem. It's not, I don't have hatred for them. I don't have a problem with them in themselves or even what they do. It's just that with our system, that doesn't work.
You know what I would say to that as well? If they use the American soldiers in their advantage and all that other stuff. Okay.
This conversation is so
negotiated that.
so fucking boring. I have to be honest. I'm gonna watch it all the way through, but I'm so fucking bored of Americans talking about Jews, making them fight in your wars. Take some goddamn responsibility. Your interests and the interests of Israel are the fucking same. That's why we're allies, you retards. We literally fight the same wars because we're on the same fucking side. You dumb fucks. What's wrong with you guys? I'm not speaking about PBD in this specific case, but like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You guys are so stupid. We're fighting the same fucking fight. We have the same enemy. I'm so bored of this conversation.
Some president negotiated that deal. Someone said yes to it, right? When they say, well, let me tell you, that person is afraid to platform this guy because he's afraid his donors are going to go and do this. And it's Israel's fault. No, it's not. It's the guy who runs it's not Israel's fault. What are you talking about? This guy sends me a message. APAC. I got a text. Not a text. What do you call it in the X? A DM I get from APAC. Okay? Hey, we'd like you to come to Israel. We'd like to invite you. I'm sure many people get that message, right? They send it. I said, I'm going to come with my pastor. I don't want you to pay for it. I'm going to pay for it. I want to bring my crew because I want to go see Jerusalem. You're not going to see me putting the what do they call it? The
kippah.
I'm not going to put that on. But guess what? I respect the culture, and I want to go to Gaza, and I would ask for some idea of protection that if we can go to Gaza, show it to her. I want to see this stuff. I want to go with my pastor. First time around, I'm not going to take my kids. Maybe the second, third time, I'll take my kids. But to me, I don't put the onus on, like when a guy's like, that guy has slept with so many people, this, and the girl said yes. No, but you don't understand. He's a man whore. But the girl said yes. So is it Israel or is it the girl? Do you understand what point I'm trying to make here?
Absolutely.
So to me, it's kind of like, I mean, look, if you said Israel over Muslims, right? Mm-hmm. Which of the two do you think has been a bigger net positive to America?
Oh, well, it has to be Israel, absolutely.
Okay, so
and I agree with you. Like, I think there are a lot of people that are critical of Israel that are reluctant to acknowledge the good that Jews do. And I think that Jews they're brilliant. Many of them are brilliant.
So when I'm saying net positive, I'm talking jobs, economy. How often you hear about crime, what they do. Like if you have a choice between living in a city in Minnesota, Dearborn, and living in, I don't know what's the biggest city. What's the city that, Boca Raton, let's just say, right? If you have a choice between raising your family between Dearborn and Boca Raton, where do you choose?
Boca Raton,
okay,
of course,
so the point is, like, they go to a place. And by the way, to me, if that was Muslims, guess what? I would say Muslims. Mm-hmm. But statistically, wherever they live, it's safer, things are nicer, things get better.
I agree.
And that is one part to measure where they're at. Now, do I see them overly aggressive? Do I see them the type that are going to use politicians and buy them like Marjorie Taylor Greene and other people are saying? 100%. Do I see them, they're going to be there in everyone's DM and email saying, hey, we'd love to support you. We'd love to bring you to Israel and, doing all that stuff? It's obvious. I'm seeing it myself, okay? Do I look at that and shame them and say, oh, you shame on? I look at that and say, no, I wish Armenians would do that. I've never gotten an invitation from Prime Minister of Armenia. He should probably send me an invite to go there, right? It's not a bad idea to come and show the country. I'm Armenian. I'm a Syrian. Syrians don't have a country. It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, it is a good idea. And here's the thing. We're a force to be reckoned with. And that's the problem. You guys have an identity crisis. We don't. Our tribe has stayed the same for a long time. You don't know who the fuck you are. And so because you're confused as shit, you're taking out all your confused aspirations on us. We know who we are. I'm not saying we're like got it completely ironed out because we got some confusion too. But our identity is pretty solid. And so because when you have an identity and you work as a tribe and as a unit, you kind of stick up for each other. And I'm not saying it's perfect. We do make mistakes often. And we fight often. But for the most part, we look out for each other. You can't say that about Assyrians. You can't say that about Mandeans. You can't say that about Armenians and Coptic people and Amazigh and all the ethnic minorities. You definitely can't say it about the Arabs. So yeah, we got our shit ironed out. We try to, at least for the most part. And you guys conceive that as you understand it as a threat. Maybe it is a threat on you. I don't know. Maybe try to learn from it. I try to take what PBD said to heart there, which I think is the most important part. Everywhere they go, life gets better. That's the whole fucking policy of our group. The idea isn't to hoard and to take and to squeeze out and to make you fight for us. No, the idea, literally the dogma that this group lives behind, is improving the world. That's literally the dogma. That's literally the idea. That's the whole concept. You live and die by that. And that's what happens in practice. Even for Palestinians, if you want to make the claim all this genocide, ethnic cleansing has happened, let's look at it straightly from the Palestinians. Their population has 10x'd since we came back to the land. 10x'd since we established our state in every place they live in. In the West Bank, Gaza, and in Israel proper, they have 10x'd just by virtue of living next to the Jews. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that reality? Everywhere Jewish people go for the most part improves that area. I'm not trying to make us seem supreme, but know your fucking enemy. You know, when you have a jihadist town center popping up in Dearborn and people are being woken up by the muezzin at 4 a.m. because they can't get their mosques together in Dearborn and they can't realize that's not part of the American Constitution. It's to blast a mosque in the middle of the morning for people in the U.S., You have an enemy that you need to deal with, not the Jewish people. You want to iron out us controlling the world and controlling the banks. Let's have a conversation about how y'all colonized our asses over and over again. How you guys gave us generational trauma that we're still passing on from generation to generation. How you guys never let us feel completely in. No matter how far we assimilate in, you never let us feel 100% assimilated. Let's talk about how your projections onto us. I'm not trying to victimize ourselves. We're a strong, powerful nation. Like I said, we're a force to be reckoned with. I am not afraid of you. Not of Patrick Bet-David, not of Assyrians, not of Armenians, not of Nick Fuentes, not of Candace Owens. We are not afraid of you. We're not afraid of anyone. Because we've got a backing that you guys will never understand, and that's the test of time. It's something none of y'all have ever been able to put up against us. Every time we make it through to the other side, you guys always try to tear us down. Every single time we supersede. And even if you knock us down a few pegs, we will persevere and we'll be there in the next season. You might not. So maybe try to learn. Maybe try to cooperate with us. Maybe try to work with us. You come off like a fucking idiot. You come off like a rabid dog when you blame the Jews for everything. And again, I can look at this in the 360 and like I can appreciate the positive things that Nick Fuentes is saying. But the most retarded statement he could have possibly said is, you think the Jews are a bigger issue for you in America than the Muslims? What the fuck is wrong with you? I've done a whole series. It's coming out soon. Interviewing all these Yemeni Americans that have been allowed into America, all of them born overseas in Yemen, who own these bodegas and gas stations and shops all across New York City, Chicago, who all have some sort of affiliation, desire, or moral support for an overseas terrorist group that would like to kill America, that has a flag that says death to America. Just that group alone is more of a danger to you than the Jews. Just that group alone. Those are the potential future 9/11 victims or perpetrators. For fuck's sake, man, the amount of mental dissonance you need to believe that Jews are somehow a threat to America and not constantly uplifting the United States of America is just something, it's beyond me. The fact that you can't look inside yourself and realize that the values that brought you to the wars in the Middle East, maybe have a little bit of something to do with you and your desire to be the world's police as America and your desire to spread democracy and your ideology because you think it's supreme onto everybody, maybe it doesn't have so much to do with the Jews. Maybe it has to do with your national and international aspirations. And I'm not here to critique it. I'm an American citizen. I can appreciate that as well. But maybe don't look for a scapegoat and everything. Having personal, this is the biggest message I have for Americans and for Christian Americans specifically who have an issue with the Jews. Don't be like the Muslims. Because here's the problem with the Muslims and why the Muslim world looks the way it does. I've done a deep research-based analysis on this. The reason the Muslim world and the Arab world looks the way it does is because they've always looked for a scapegoat. They have never learned from failure. They are never able to admit defeat. They never surrender. And surrender is sometimes a useful tool to understand where you fucked up, what you did wrong, so you can learn from it and do better. If you are unable to admit defeat and admit that you've done something wrong and learn from it, you can never, ever grow. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a strong believer in personal growth. I spent 10 years traveling around the world. God knows how many mistakes I've made. Tons. And every time I learned from it and became a better person and a stronger person from it. That is a life lesson. A nation requires the same thing. A tribe requires the same thing. If you go and attack a tribe that's stronger than you without the right weaponry and you lose land, that is a consequence of learning that mistake. You hope to God that you don't do that same mistake again, because then you would have not learned anything. You need to look for a new strategy. Doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result, is the definition of insanity. It's not the actual definition of insanity, but it's like the, I don't know, I don't even know the correct word for that. There's some sort of imaginative word for that. It is that kind of word for insanity. If you blame all your problems, you look for a scapegoat, you're doing exactly what the Muslims in the Arab world has done. Don't be like them. Trust me, Christian world. Trust me, Americans in the West. You don't want to be like them. You don't want to act like them. You don't want your nations, your part of the world, to end up looking like the Muslim in the Arab world. Because it is not a fun place to be. Not for anybody. Not for them, because they have so much internal hatred. Not for the ethnic minorities. Not for the Christians. Not for the Jews. Learn from us, from the Jews. When we fuck up, we take back a couple steps. We learn from it. We try to do it better again. God knows we've been doing this for 3,000 years. And we're still here. And we still will be here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Get your merch and Zionize just like me. Love you long time. Goodbye, Klats. Have you struggled with repping your Zionism in style? Well, boy, do I have a solution for you. Head to thetravelingclat.com and become a sweet Zionist prince or princess today. Or maybe even let the world know you're a white colonizer with matching hat. Tell the comment section you were thrown out of 109 countries by joining the 109 Club with a matching hat. They say it was promised to you 2,000 years ago? Double down and grab a shirt that was promised to you 3,000 years ago with a matching hat. Ever dreamed of Zionizing like me? Do it with a matching hat, damn it! Show off your Iraqi pride by being someone's back daddy, or showing them you were made in Iraq with a matching hat. It's time to laugh in the face of those who attack us. Wear their hate with pride and you become untouchable. TheTravelingClad.com. We got mugs, stickers, shirts, hoodies, and so much more. Go grab yourself something nice, Habibis and Habibtis. You deserve it. If you don't want to buy any merchandise, the best way to support me is by donating on Buy Me a Coffee, my PayPal, or becoming a member on my Patreon. Your support is very much needed and very much appreciated. Thank you.